What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 coins in cryptocurrency, as well as my opinion on whether you should invest in them or not. Quick disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. Invest at your own risk, and obviously this space has a lot of volatility, so plan accordingly. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into number 5, Ripple. Ripple is one of the older cryptocurrencies. It was first launched in 2012. Ripple's premise is a little bit different than many other cryptocurrencies. They're primarily trying to get large financial institutions such as banks or maybe hedge funds or any kind of large center of money to be able to transfer large amounts of money quickly, securely, and with extremely low fees. Now, lower fees on transactions might not sound like a big deal, but it's actually becoming more and more of a problem in the world of crypto. A lot of these currencies, even though they charge you only a fraction of a unit for a transfer, well, when a unit becomes $14,000 like it is with Bitcoin, all of a sudden that 0.0002 fee, it's actually real money. It can be on the upwards of $10, $20 sometimes just to make a simple transaction. Another issue with some of the bigger coins is that they take a while to transfer, and that's completely not the case with Ripple. Here we have an image that shows how fast payments settle. As you can see, Ripple, it takes about 4 seconds for an average transaction. Ethereum takes around 2+ minutes, Bitcoin takes over an hour, and traditional systems take more like 3 to 5 days. So you can see the advantage here for Ripple versus a lot of other different financial institutions or cryptocurrencies. Basically, you can transfer a lot of money with a low fee very quickly, and that's attractive, particularly when you have to send a lot of money. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, man, this sounds amazing. Where do I sign up and buy some right now? But there are some drawbacks to Ripple that we have to discuss. And the first one is that Ripple is actually quite centralized. Now, Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO and founder of Ripple, would argue and say that even without Ripple Labs, which is the company that has built Ripple, Ripple will continue to function. And so thus it cannot be decentralized. But I'm not really exactly buying it. Sure, the currency might function without Ripple Labs, but at the same time, Ripple Labs has a disproportionate amount of the currency due to a pre-mine. Now, you might wonder, what is a pre-mine? Well, before currency comes out, the founders of the currency can decide how much of that currency they are going to hold, either to pay the development team for their own personal interests or what they think is best for the coin. And generally speaking, it is good for the founders to take part in some of the coins. That way they're incentivized for it to be successful, but they also shouldn't be taking too many, because then it's just greedy and it doesn't allow the coin to become successful because they just simply have too much of the total currency. Now, there are 100 billion Ripple, and Ripple Labs has 62 billion of those. So that's right, over 60% of the currency is controlled by the people who founded it and their development team. Now, Ripple has promised that they're going to lock up some of this currency for the future, and I'm not sure if that will end up being the case or not. Maybe it will. In fact, it seems likely these guys want it to be successful, so they're probably going to do that. But you are leaving something to chance. Are they going to sell their currency and thus devalue your Ripple that you own? It's a bit of a situation where you kind of have to trust that they have the best intentions for the currency at heart, and they're not just doing it to try and make the most that they can off of their 62 billion Ripple. Personally, I just can't get behind something with that much of the currency in the hands of the founders. They could absolutely flood the market and destroy the currency value. They could try and sell it. There's all kinds of shady stuff that could simply go down that I do not trust in as far as allowing someone that opportunity. So I don't invest in Ripple. They are doing some cool stuff. Maybe you should research a bit more about what they're doing, and there's an article below from Coin Central to help you learn more about it. This brings us to cryptocurrency number 4, IOTA. Now, IOTA is a much newer cryptocurrency. It's only been available since mid-June of 2017. Now, IOTA's vision is a little bit different than many of the other coins. They're trying to be the first currency that's going to allow machine-to-machine transactions with no fee whatsoever. You might be asking yourself right now, well, how can there be no fees? What's going to secure these transactions? And what IOTA is trying to do is make it so that both the person sending and receiving are part of the network that processes it so that there are no fees at all. Now, I'm not a tech guy, so if you want to learn more about this, you can check out the article in the description below. But basically, this is some very advanced stuff coming out that's looking to try and change the way that cryptocurrency operates. It's not been all rainbows and butterflies, as in mid-2017, MIT and Boston University made waves when they published a scathing paper outlining critical security flaws in the curl hashing function. Now, we might have to get some people in here that know what that means, but I'm going to go ahead and say that if MIT and Boston University think that there's something going on, it's probably a little bit of an issue. It seems that IOTA is a very ambitious project, and if they manage to do what they think they can, this could be huge one day. However, the cryptography isn't exactly secure and isn't exactly perfect at the moment, so there's a bit more risk here than with some of the other currencies. Personally, I don't have any of this, but I do think it's a reasonable spot if you're looking for something that has a bit more upside but also more risk. I don't mind the play, as it is the 4th largest cryptocurrency, and if they're successful, it could be huge. Moving on to number 3, Bitcoin Cash. Now, for some of you guys new to crypto, you might be wondering, why are there 2 Bitcoins? Why is there Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash? Why isn't there just one? It's a question we all ask ourselves sometimes. The reason Bitcoin split was because as it got larger, there were differences of opinion as to how Bitcoin should deal with its scaling. As something becomes more used, there are more transactions on the network, fees go up, transaction times take longer, and so you have to find ways to try and develop the technology that make it quicker to be able to send money. Well, not everyone's on the same page when it comes to that, and there were some different ideas as to what should happen. One successful project known as Segregated Witness, or SegWit, was a proposed solution to be implemented into the Bitcoin network. SegWit was already implemented and working on Litecoin, and so it was seen as a way to maybe use some new technology to try and make these transactions cheaper and faster. However, other people felt like what needed to happen was the block size needed to increase in each block. Currently, it's 1 megabyte, and it was proposed to be up to 8 megabytes if they did go ahead with that change. On August 1st, 2017, a hard fork took place, and Bitcoin Cash was born, otherwise known as Bcash, but you better not say that to Roger Ver. Roger Ver is one of the biggest advocates of Bitcoin Cash. He's been out there promoting it from the get-go, and he was the one that originally wanted Bitcoin to move to 8 megabyte blocks. Now, there's a lot of argument as to which one is better, but one thing is certainly true right now. Bitcoin Cash transactions are both cheaper and faster, although there have been some issues with the network at times. It's also not exactly that simple because Bitcoin Cash has a lot less transactions going on, and so thus it makes it cheaper and faster. It's not exactly known what it would look like if we had the same volume for Bitcoin Cash as we would Bitcoin, but altcoins are going to struggle with scaling to some extent. Also, even though Bitcoin did implement SegWit, they have not, because it's an optional choice for people to have, most places are not using SegWit yet, and so that's also driving up transaction time. Personally, when the coin forked, which meant Bitcoin became both Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, I decided I wanted to sell all of my Bitcoin Cash and only hold on to Bitcoin. People that like Bitcoin Cash will call Bitcoin Bitcoin Core, but the name of it is Bitcoin. It is accepted that it is the true Bitcoin. If you like the direction that Bitcoin Cash is going, maybe do some research and you like the block size increase, you might want to purchase some Bitcoin Cash. However, you should also know that there have been some pretty questionable price manipulations when it comes to Bitcoin Cash. There have been a few moments where the price of Bitcoin Cash surged, and it's believed to be because Roger Ver was orchestrating some kind of buy and then either potentially sell off or just to try and pump the price. Bitcoin Cash is the 3rd largest coin and does have a lot of major players behind it, but it's also not exactly clear what their intentions are, and everyone's looking out for themselves in the world of crypto. So do some research and decide if it's for you, but I have not invested in Bitcoin Cash. This brings us to our 2nd largest cryptocurrency, coming in over $40 billion, Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is fundamentally different than Bitcoin. Ethereum is a decentralized platform for applications instead of a store of value or potentially currency like Bitcoin. You're probably sitting there at home saying, "Oh, thanks." Any way you could say that in English? One of the major advantages to Ethereum is that it implemented smart contracts. Now, smart contracts are, if certain criteria are met, then something is executed. The cryptocurrency of Ethereum is called Ether, and it serves 2 primary functions. The first function is to compensate the mining full nodes that run the network. This helps the stability of the entire network and allows the transactions to happen smoothly. The second is to pay people under smart contracts. This is why users would want to use the network in order to make payments. If Ripple is old school and IOTA is new school and Bitcoin Cash is new school, but they think they're old school, then I'd say Ethereum is right about in the middle of the pack. I mean, this thing's been out for a little over 2 years. It was launched in mid to late 2015. So it's been out for a little while now, and it's a currency that you certainly have to watch. I mean, it's managed to become the second biggest currency. It's pretty goddamn big. What's also cool about Ethereum is that they're really trying to do something entirely different. By adding in smart contracts, they went somewhere that crypto had not gone before, and so that gives it a lot of upside. The problem is now, though, that there are some copycats in more of the 5 to 15th ranked range that are trying to do exactly what Ethereum does, but better in certain ways. I'm not sure if that has maybe contributed to the lack of increase in price for Ethereum, or maybe it's just that the price got pumped up a lot because you had to use Ethereum to buy ICOs, but we haven't seen a lot of growth in the Ethereum price for some time now. This is the first coin on our top 5 list that I actually own some of. I've only been owning it for a little while now, and I use it sometimes to buy into ICOs or otherwise just hold. I think that it's a lot less risky than some of the other players. The bigger the cryptocurrency you get to is, the less risky that it is. So I like that aspect of it. I also like that it has a really good community of people behind it. I think the technology is very cool and it's proven to work. And so I'm a big fan of what the project is doing. I will say the way that Ethereum forked with the DAO back in 2015, which is kind of its own story, was a little bit of a sketchy situation, but that's going to be for another video. Which brings us to number 1, the biggest cryptocurrency in the world, Bitcoin. Bitcoin was first introduced in January of 2009. And if you got some then, why the fuck are you on YouTube? You should have like your own island or something. What made Bitcoin so great, and one of the reasons it's still the biggest today, is that it was the first cryptocurrency to introduce blockchain technology. Now, it's a bit of a gift and a curse because what's made it so big is that it's had so many years of getting exposure. It had that first mover's advantage. It's one of the reasons that we see many of the coins today. But that also means the technology is a lot older. Now, there can be updates to the network, and that's a bit of a complicated process we're not going to get into today. And there have been many updates along the way, but you are dealing with something that was created, introduced publicly 8 years ago, rather than some of these newer coins that have already solved some of the fundamental issues that Bitcoin has. Now, the most interesting thing I think is that Satoshi Nakamoto, which is the moniker for the person that started Bitcoin, he believed that it was going to be more of a currency. It was going to be used as a way to exchange for things. However, because of how long that transactions are taking now and because the fees are so high, it's become more of a store of value. So he viewed it more as kind of like the US dollar, but not controlled by anyone. But instead, it's more like digital gold. So it's you can kind of see the difference there. In my personal opinion, Bitcoin is an amazing store of value. There will only ever be 21 million coins, so this currency will be deflationary in nature. Also, Bitcoin is very decentralized. Now, people that argue against that will say certain mining pools have a lot of power in the world of Bitcoin, and that's definitely true. It's not as decentralized as we would like, but it is still quite decentralized. Bitcoin's price has been a wild ride since its introduction. There was a point where 10,000 Bitcoins could get you a pizza, and now 10,000 Bitcoins is worth, I'm going to say, a lot of money. Just crunch the numbers. As of right now, it's only worth 140 million, so I guess not as much as I thought. Bitcoin is my biggest hold. Bitcoin has been the fundamental coin behind cryptocurrency for years. It is tried and true. It has the most public recognition. More and more people are learning about Bitcoin, understanding what Bitcoin is. And if you're looking to get involved in cryptocurrency, it will be my recommendation to have that be the main component of your portfolio. Don't go all in on some shitty ICO that happened and it could be huge. Sure, everyone loves to make a ton, like 10x, 20x their money, but it's a lot more risky. Now, Bitcoin is risky. All cryptocurrencies are risky. But with a market cap of over $200 billion, it's not going to have the same fluctuations. It's going to be hard for Bitcoin to lose 75, 80% of its value. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. It certainly could. And I'm sure at some point someone will link this video and be like, ha, I got you, Doug. It just dropped 80% now. What's up, bitch? To which I'll say, what about the next part where I said it would happen? It's like I knew that you knew that I knew. But look, if you're just jumping into crypto, start off with this. If you want to get involved, I would say start off with purchasing an amount of Bitcoin you can afford to lose, get your feet, in the water, start to learn a bit more about some other things, and then pick different coins that you like what they're trying to do. Find good projects. Find people that you like what they have to say. Find things that are trying to actually make a difference in the world. Don't just jump into something because you heard you can double your money and you're trying to get in there quick. That's never going to work long run. Sure, it might work right now because this industry is booming, but it's eventually going to end. We're not going to have this type of growth for forever. It's not just going to be 100% return every month for the rest of time and you can just retire. No, that's not realistic. Understand that there will be downturns. And that's actually the final point I want to make here. Cryptocurrency is in a place where everyone's getting in. It's super hot and it's, these are some crazy times. We're looking at some historic times. But don't let that sway you from the fundamental understanding of why these things matter. Having currency that the government doesn't control is a good thing. Having currency that's deflationary is a good thing as a store of value. Having peer-to-peer transactions that are private in some capacity are also good. That's one of the reasons why I like a lot of the privacy coins. But again, different conversation. The point is, I think that digital currency has value. And because of that, it's going to continue to rise in value moving forward. I don't know if Bitcoin is going to be the big thing when it's all said and done. But I can say I think we're going to see more of these currencies come up, and we're going to see more and more of them grow as well. Which one that will be is hard to determine, but try and pick ones that aren't as risky for your main positions and then pick a few you believe in to take a gamble. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I hope that was informative and helped you, if you're new to cryptocurrency, understand the major coins and kind of, what your place should be in the space. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be putting a lot of content up here. I'm looking forward to making it. I'll see you guys again soon.